What's up, guys and gals? It's Griever back here, bringing you guys Ayakashi Triangle chapter number 36. Chapter 36. And this chapter, actually, I thought it was a lot of fun. I really did. Like, we get introduced to these new characters, the idea of Ayakashi from other places, which is a very difficult thing to do and sometimes isn't usually handled super well. You know, in a lot of mangas and fictions and stuff like that, we have this world. It's like, oh, wow. And it seems to always... It's the entirety. Japan is the entire world sort of idea. Like, well, are you telling me that demons only exist in Japan? There's not, Chinese demons. There's not European demons. There's not African demons. There's not North American demons, and or worlds or societies or what have you, right? Like, it always seems to be super focused and it's always world-ending stuff, but it's all in this one little spot. So I love it when a manga series... takes a liberty and says, there are other demons, there are other yokai, there are other Ayakashi in this case, from other places. It's just that, generally speaking, just like, people like Canadians, usually most of us live in Canada, most Canadians live in Canada, go figure, most Ayakashi are demons that come from Japan, stay in Japan, and they're foreigners are sort of a rarity, just like in human culture. So that's like, all right, fair enough. So, but here we're seeing the introduction of a Russian one, the granddaughter of Dead Moraz, basically Grandfather Frost, the Russian equivalent, sort of, not exactly the equivalent of Saint Nicholas, Father Christmas, or Santa Claus, but more of a similar type of figure. Does sort of the same duties, the same idea, but isn't exactly a direct translation. There are a lot of differences between the mythologies in that regard. And this particular woman, this Rokcha, not really know if I'm saying that right, but she is the granddaughter of Dead Moraz, and ends up being a sort of a helper in a way, sort of like the companion elf that's always there. Instead of having a workshop full of elves, there's her, and she has similar powers. She's like the snow princess, the ice princess sort of idea, and she assists her grandfather with his duties sort of idea as Grandfather Frost, who does give presents, but it's on the 31st of December, interesting enough, and New Year's Eve rather than Christmas Day, because that's, of course, more of a Christian, that's a Western concept. So very interesting. And so already we're getting huge into a mythology and interesting history lesson sort of idea, and I really like that. I love when a manga makes me want to go, all right, well, I want to research this. I want to look this up. It's why Shumatsu no Valkyrie, Record of Ragnarok, is so interesting to me, because we're exploring certain gods that I might have heard of before, but I'm unfamiliar with the details surrounding them, and then that makes me want to research it even more. And even if I've heard the name, I don't know enough about them. So just like that, here we're getting a very similar concept. So I really like this chapter for doing that, for introducing a foreign Ayakashi, who seems to be just more of a prankster. She seems to be doing this for apparently her friend. She's playing around with all these different pranks and tricks involving, of course, freezing things, snow, ice, slippery surfaces, all that stuff. They go to Garaku pretty much about this. Hilarity ensues, right? She appears, she vanishes, she freezes Shirogane, she freezes a lollipop, she freezes the ice water, the water coming out of the tap. She does all these prankster sort of ideas because she doesn't think that Suzu is worthy. She's like, title of King of the Ayakashi, I'm going to take it from you. Now, this is where Garaku knows exactly, and we, as I said at the beginning, this is where we get all the information about who she is. Shirogane even brings up, though, a foreign, King of the Ayakashi might be a slightly coveted title, but from what we understand, we haven't really been given a full explanation about this, but King of the Ayakashi isn't even, technically by the sounds of it, it's never been confirmed that even covers the country of Japan. King of the Ayakashi is just the title given for this area, whether it's this region, pretty much. How far that region stretches, we are not given that information yet. But by all intents and purposes, it sounds like the King of the Ayakashi is not even the King of Japan, just the king in a certain region. So it's not like becoming the ruler of another country, so why would this foreign Ayakashi all the way from Russia be so interested in basically sort of like becoming, I don't know, the chief of police in your local town? You know, like, yeah, sure, you're the sheriff of the local community, and yeah, that's a good title, but like, why would it matter to anybody outside the community? Like, it's not like you're king of the world, king of a country, right? So Shirogane does bring this up, and Garaku agrees with him that, like, yeah, that's very odd that she wants to take away this title, which, like, it's not really it's sort of weird, right? But Garaku also brings up the fact that if she got serious, she could be very dangerous. So maybe I should be protecting Suzu right now. And Matsuri does recognize this fact and go, yeah, if it's Garaku, Suzu might be kept safe, because according to Garaku, right now she's playing pranks. But if she got serious, you might not be able to handle her. She's actually very dangerous. She's very powerful. So Matsuri recognizes this in his own inner monologue, but decides, you know what, no, I'm going to be the one to protect Suzu. So also, we get a scene with this woman, this Ayakashi, and she basically says, your dream, my friend's dream is my dream, right? Like, I'm going to take this title away from her, so she'll never interact with Ayakashi ever again. And don't worry, leave it to me. So she's talking to somebody, she's skating around on this ice, and she seems to be talking. So this isn't her will. She's taking on somebody else's will. We don't know whose it is. We don't know what their intentions are. But we're building up to a bit of a plot. Once again, I hope it's not as quick as the Jinyo shit that only lasted like 4 chapters. I hope this one continues for, a good dozen or 15 chapters. That would lead me to be much more interested, because this one's got me really intrigued, and I just hope it doesn't end itself, by the end of April, right? That's all I'm worried about now. Because this chapter was super interesting. Matsuri and Suzu Matsuri decides that instead, if this woman can appear out of thin air and stuff, she might be able to hear them. So they're texting back and forth to make sure that none of their communication is sort of overheard, sort of idea, right? So Suzu comes home, she starts stripping down, and she's in her underwear and all that stuff. So ichi manga, hilarity ensues, it's fantastic. And of course Matsuri is using the invisible cloak to ambush this chick. He's been hiding underneath it the entire time, and she's like taking off all her clothes and stuff, and it's, of course, Shirogane notices that Suzu is really enthusiastic about this plan. Oh, well, yeah, like the idea behind the plan now between them texting is that she's going to act normally while Matsuri hides under the invisible cloak, waiting for when she strikes again and be able to ambush her. So Suzu needs to go about her day-to-day as she normally would without leading any suspicion. So if her normal thing is to take off her school uniform and change out of it, get into the bath, do whatever you do, she's got to keep up with it and can't just, So Matsuri, of course, is saying, like, you're taking too much off, like, I feel like a peeping Tom, stop it. And she's like, no, it's your duty, there's no hope but avoid it. So she's gone crazy with lust and love, and she's blushing to beat the band, but she's just like, yeah, I must do this. And Shirogane's the one going, she's really enthusiastic about this stuff. But we also see at the end of the chapter the snow. We see the snowflakes and the sort of the cold breeze coming towards the house. So this plan may or may not work. We don't know what's going to happen, but I think that this chapter was really good. Chapter 36 has me intrigued for what they could do with this plot line. It might be another one of those really quick, only 3 chapters done sort of idea, which would be disappointing. But I feel like if it's not, it could be super interesting for a good 10, 12 chapters. So, yeah, what did you guys think of the chapter, though? I thought it was really good, as I said. Like, comment, and subscribe, as always. This was really, as I said, this was an interesting chapter. I really enjoyed the direction they were taking this one. And introducing different sort of just not classic Japanese yokai, but introducing yokai and creatures from other mythologies and different, Slavic and Russian mythologies and stuff like that is very interesting. I really like that aspect of it. Once again, giving me a bit of that Record of Ragnarok feel, where we're having different aspects from different mythologies and religions all pooled into this to make it more interesting, more cohesive storyline. if you will. So thanks guys so much for watching once again, though. Like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to drink responsibly as always, and let's get ourselves to 500 subscribers here in this month. By the end of the month, I need that 500, guys. We are this goddamn close, so let's get there. Love you guys all. As always, we'll see you back here next time. Peace out.